Unboxing the DTF station. Miro 36. You will need an adjustable crescent wrench and a drill. The crate has key lock connections holding it together. You will need additional assistance getting it apart and unloading the powder shaker and dryer. Once you have the crate off, you will remove the black slip over the unit, but do not discard it because it is a dust cover for the assembly. There will be 2 document sheets on top of the larger assembly. You will have a set of bars under the printer. Remove them from under the assembly. They will be used later in the video. We will now begin by removing the brackets holding the assembly to the pallet. You will need your electric drill for this to speed through the process. There are 3 screws in each bracket. You will need to remove a total of 8 brackets. Please remove all brackets at this time. Now you will discard the humidity pack at the base of the unit. Remove the wood separating the 2 units. This same wood will be used to form the ramp to remove the unit from the top of the pallet. Remove the wood from the wrapping and place it on the floor about 10 to 12 inches from the pallet. You will now need assistance with the top panel of the crate. Flip the panel over and line the ends up with the pallet. The legs will now need to be raised to remove the unit from the pallet. This is where the adjustable crescent wrench will be utilized. There may be a few legs that have the top nut raised all the way to the top of the bolt. Lower the nut if that is the case to move the leg upward. This process will also be done a total of 8 times on this unit. Now that the legs are lifted, grab your assistance. Removing the unit will require 2 people. Do not remove the smaller unit directly to the ramp. This unit needs to be turned. The larger unit you will need to hold it at these locations, as seen here. Roll the assembly slowly down the ramp. Now that you have everything off the pallet, you will have 2 unit assemblies, 2 packaged items, a dust cover, and 2 document sheets. These documents cover the assembly of this unit. The DTF station. Miro 36 is 2 units that assemble into one. This is to allow you to get the units through a standard doorway. Now that we have the Miro 36 powder shaker and dryer indoors, please place the smaller unit 2 to 3 feet away from the printer you will be printing from. This is to allow room for the front heating plate, as you see here with the full unit assembled. Now let us remove the additional parts stored in the large unit cabinet space. You will be removing a foam insert with parts, an empty roll for the take-up reel, and a box of film. Let's get started with assembling the 2 units. With the powder unit heat platen facing the DTF printer you have selected, let us begin. At the rear of the smaller unit or the powder shaker, there are 3 ports. On the larger unit or the dryer, 3 cables are sticking out of one side. You will need to connect the cables to the ports. You will need to remove the wrapping from the ends of the cables before connecting them. Align the units to ensure easy installation of the cables. There are 2 small ports and 1 large. The cables follow the same order as well. We are starting with the larger cable and port. This is due to them being toward the interior of the assembly, and we will install outward for the other 2 cables. Now that the unit cables are connected, the next step is to feed the excess cable back into the larger unit. On the smaller unit, you will notice the 2 knobs on the left and right sides. You will need to back them out, but do not remove them. The large unit has a set of hooks sticking out that slide into the smaller unit, joining the 2 units together. You will line the 2 units up before butting them together. Once aligned, push them together and secure the knobs on each side. You will need to go about half the screw length and switch to the other set of knobs to do the same thing. The next step will be assembly of the tension bars, cooling fan, and take-up reel. In this video, we will screw in one side of the brackets for these items, and you will need to mirror the same process on the other side of the dryer and powder shaker. Let's start from the top item and work our way down. The first bracket will be for the top tension bar. You will need 2 screw knobs. The second bracket we are installing will be off to the side for the cooling fan unit and installed on the side of the oven with 2 screw knobs. This bracket can be installed with the adjustable side on the top or bottom. We are installing with the adjustment at the top. This is to allow the fans to be pointed directly at the film or at a downward angle. The third bracket is for the second tension bar. This one will need 2 screw knobs as well. The fourth bracket is for the take-up reel. This will require 4 screw knobs, 2 on the front of the oven and 2 off to the side. You will install the 2 screws in the front first, about a quarter of the way in, and then grab the bracket. Place a screw knob in the back of the bracket and use it for alignment, as you see here. Screw that in about a quarter of the way as well. Place the second screw knob in as well. Now you can secure them both and the front-facing screws after. Now repeat this process on the other side of the oven in the same order. Now it's time to install the tension bars. You will unscrew the knob and remove the bearing from the tension rod, as seen here. Place the rod into the bracket hole and attach the bearing, then install the screw knob. You will follow the same process on the opposite side. We will install the second tension bar now, the same way, but in the third bracket. This is due to the cooling fan being in the way once installed. On each tension bar, there are two black media guides. We will turn the knob screw to loosen them and move them to the left and right sides of the tension bars. It's time for the cooling fan now. You will need 4 screw knobs for this part. Also note that the cooling fan has a cable sticking out of one end. That will be needed on the right side. Start by installing your screw knobs on the top hole on the left and right sides of your bracket. Once again, you should have the cable sticking out of the right side as in the video. Now that you have the top screws in, placing the bottom set should go nice and smooth. Tighten as needed. Time to install the large bars for the take-up reel. First, start by backing out the screw knobs in the bracket. There are 8 knobs in total that you will have to do this to. Once you are ready, install the rear bar and then tighten the knobs as needed to hold the bar firmly. The second bar can be placed in the right bracket at this time and lay in the left one, but do not tighten the screw knobs at this point. The take-up reel motor and end cap are located in the foam insert that you pulled out from the oven unit. Move the second bar to the right in the right bracket. Grab the motor and have the motor oriented to the right while placing it on the second bar with the open end sitting on bar 1. The screw knob on the motor and end cap should already be loose on this item, but if it is not, please loosen it to slide the motor unit all the way to the right. With the second bar still open, you will now place the end cap unit on as you see here. The end cap also has an open end that sits on the first bar. With both parts on the take-up reel, one will now be able to center the second bar with the first bar. Screw the knobs down on the second bar evenly and as firmly as the first bar. These 2 large bars will not need to be adjustable at this point. The motor and end cap of the take-up reel are the adjustable parts for this oven. Time to connect the cables for the take-up motor and the cooling fan. You can install the take-up motor cable over the cooling fan, but the cable may cause an issue in the future while printing. So let's just install it under the cooling fan and lead the cable off to the side. The bottom port is for the take-up motor and the top port is for the cooling fan. You can add the empty roll core to the take-up motor and end cap. It's time to plug the oven in. This is a dual 120-volt unit, making this oven work for a standard plug. Before turning the unit on, we want to raise and set the front heater platen. You can lift and select the bracket placement that best fits your printer. For me, the notch above the marking works. You may need assistance holding the front heat platen up due to its weight. Let's power it up. Switch the 2 red buttons to on. The touchscreen display will light up. You can pop it out for use as needed by pushing in toward the unit. On the display, you will be able to change your settings as needed. I like the speed to be on 5, but it's all your personal preference. I click the fans on, and now they display that, plus I can hear them. Now that you know everything is working, please shut the dryer and powder shaker off. The last thing to do is align your dryer and powder shaker to the printer you have chosen. With about 10 feet of media sticking out of your printer and overlaid on the oven, you should be able to use the lines on the front heat platen and the rear of the oven. They do not have to be exact, but you want to be within 1/8 of an inch on the numbers. This is to give yourself some leeway. Not every roll has the same tension, and the output is not the same on every printer. That is where you can adjust the tension guides and take up accordingly. Now that we have the media aligned to our printer, we will put the stopper feet down and level the dryer and powder shaker as needed. Just like that, your dryer and powder shaker is set up and ready to go. For operating this machine and printing, please watch the additional videos on Imaging Spectrum's YouTube page.